Hey, Martinez. All right, so today we have Martinez coming to us from Ireland, and this is my first time being the interviewer. I'm usually the one getting interviewed, but Martinez had a great question today about growing his business that he's recently started, an incredible business. He does all my social media. He also does Joe Fairless, a couple other people in the industry, helping them expand their platforms and get their message out. But anyways, Martinez asked me, hey, what do you do as a new business owner or even an existing business owner? How far out do you plan? Do you go with the 1 year, 3 year, 5 year, 10 year? I mean, how do you plan your business in this world today, in this day and age? And also, he's read all these books and he hears the podcast, and there's so many different answers and so much different advice on
Yeah.
how do you plan your business? What are the time frames? What milestones should you be looking at? We'll get into that in a minute, but Martinez, why don't you tell everybody a little bit about you, where you're from? I know you're in Ireland, but you're not Irish,
Yeah.
and where you're from, and then and just a quick synopsis of your business and what you're doing, and then we'll get into it.
Sure, sure. Yeah. First of all, thanks for having me and thanks for spending this quality time. Every time is great talking with you. So, my name is Martinos Fedotovas. Originally, I'm coming from Eastern Europe. So, I mean, not far from here, a couple hours flight only. So, and we've been in Ireland probably now for 6, 7 years. So came in here and started living here. So, I mean, it's pretty decent. Just the summer sometimes it's cold. So that's one minus. So beside that, recently I came up with basically this idea because I started, multiple businesses before, and always I knew that the social media makes a big change in people's, businesses nowadays. And I started to see these type of patterns that people, do, and the mistakes that they do when it comes to social media. And again, that's why I created, this service that is provided for any type of business owner. Again, because in this day and age is super important to be known as an expert, a go-to person, so people would see you as an expert, in your space and then the business, that you're in. So, and I saw that most of the people are not doing that in the right way, and maybe we probably can get into the details of the problems, and the solutions that, I have for those people. But it's basically not doing the consistent stuff like, on YouTube, Instagram, podcasts, like blogs. So there's a ton of work that goes into, creating your online presence. So, and I came up with a solution because I did, a bunch of work for myself, for my wife and for some other people, just for free, because they saw, the work that I was doing, and it was like, man, it looks great. Like, I like what you do, So from there, I just kind of gave a free service, got a good feedback from those people. And it was like, it looks like I should, start making this, as a business. And, some people, gave me a super great advice that was like, this is the time, to do this thing. And, it just took off from there. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome, and that's how we met. So I actually we came together because I'm a coach and a mentor as well, and investor, and we were talking about the real estate investing space and multifamily and how do you raise capital, and I was kind of helping you with that, and
Yeah.
now I'm mentoring you in your business, and it was really interesting. What caught my eye was what you were doing for yourself and how good your stuff was, your graphics, and just all the things that you were doing, and how you were doing it. And I was like, man, can you do that for me? And you're like, absolutely. So, we were off to the races. And like even today, this video, we're making a video that you're going to upload onto my YouTube channel with, the graphics and the headlines and all that, with all the links and everything, which
Yeah.
is also going to be my podcast. You're going to strip the audio out of it, upload that to my podcast, and then snippets of it, the little gold nuggets, will be cut out and then repurposed on Instagram and LinkedIn and, Twitter and all the other social medias. And then, if I wanted to, I could transcribe this and turn it into a blog post. So, it's really cool because all of the books out there, everybody who's raising money, everybody who's in the multifamily world, and even if you're an offline business. So I have clients in different spaces. I've got software companies, I've got, real estate investors and stuff. So, I coach people in different spaces. I've got some contractors, some real estate agents, I've got some software companies, I've got people raising capital, I've got multifamily investors, and, I help people raise tons of money and do the big deals, buy companies, whatever it is. And today, in this day and age, man, if you want to be relevant, if you want to be, known, if you want more clients, customers, opportunities, you got to be out there. You got to be known. And there's a lot of noise out there. And
Yeah.
everything you read now, everybody says, man, you got to have a platform. You got to have a platform. You got to have that pillar content, and to build your platform off of your audience. Platform is an audience, and in order to reach people and get attention. And, and if you look at and this doesn't matter if you're a restaurant, if you're a movie theater, if you're a car dealer, if you're
Yeah.
a real estate agent, if you're a multifamily investor, whatever it is, you got to get out there and get in front of people. And especially if you don't have a, well, you know, car dealer, you have walk-in traffic, but still you can be prolific, you can be out there, and you can show people what you can do.
Yeah.
So it's a, you know, it's the future. It's the future of marketing, advertising. And what a lot of people don't understand, you know, I was talking to one of my clients yesterday. He didn't really even understand social media in general. And I said, look, you're an author, right? You write books. He said, yeah. I said, when you write a book and take it to a publisher, what's the first thing they ask you? You know, they ask you, how big is your platform, right? So I said, social media is your platform, all of the different ways. And then he's like, well, why do I need this, that, and this, and that? And I said, because people like to get their content different ways. So for me personally, you know, I love YouTube when I'm in a position to be able to watch YouTube. But then when I'm driving or in the gym or something like that, you know, obviously you can't do that. So I like podcasts. So, you know, that's why you want to take your content and put it in different formats, in video for people that want to watch video just like this, and then upload it to a podcast so it's easily digestible and they can listen to it on the go, whatever they're doing. You know, short snippets here and there. I mean, everybody's got their preferences. Yeah, I don't really pay attention to Instagram. I like YouTube and podcasts. That's what I do. That's my thing. I kind of keep up with Facebook a little bit, you know, just in general, but I consume my content mostly off of YouTube and podcasts. So everybody's different. Everybody's got their own thing. So anyways, your question, back to your question. You've read a lot of books, you listen to a lot of stuff, you're young, and whether you're young or not, no matter what business you're in, I get this question a lot. You know, how do I plan my business? Should I go 1 year, 3 years, you know, 5 year, 10 year? And a lot of people tell you should have a 3, 5, and 10 year plan in a business, right? Now, that depends on the type of business you're in. Okay. If you are a manufacturing plant, or if you are a restaurant, or if you are a business that does a consistent thing and produces a consistent product, you know, then you can set out, you know, some long-term plans, because nothing's going to really change or evolve. You know, if you're making widgets and that's what you do, you know, then that's just what it is, right? So you're budgeting and you're forecasting and you're planning that. But, you know, for the rest of us that are in the real estate investing world, or that are entrepreneurs and we're in the startup world, and, you know, I will tailor this message more to a startup world. Okay. So from an investment standpoint and outlook, yeah, you can have a 3 year, 5 year, 10 year plan. But if you're an entrepreneur and you're in a startup phase like you are, and you're building and growing your business, man, it's daily. You know, you can plan your year in terms of your income goals, especially if you're coming out of a job and, you know, your number one thing, everybody says, hey, should I quit my job, my W-2 job, and be an entrepreneur? And I'm like, well, you know, if that's for you, if an entrepreneurial path is for you and you decide that's what you want to do, first thing you got to do is replace your income. You either have to replace it with passive investments, or you have to replace it with a business. And, you know, we live in a gig economy, right? So it's very easy to replace your income, you know, on the side while you're still working W-2. So that's the first thing you have to do. So what I say is start with a year, plan a year, take your income, write it down. Okay. Take your business, how much that business generates per customer, per sale, per whatever it is, and break that annual income down so that you know how many customers you need, how many sales you need, how many widgets you need to sell, whatever it is. So that then you know what you have to do and start working towards that. If you're full-time, you know, employed somewhere, start working towards that on the side. And if you're in it full-time and you've got a nest egg, and I recommend don't step out on your own if you don't have at least a year's worth of income in the bank. Some people say 6 months. You know, I've been self-employed since 1997 and never looked back. You know, you want a year's worth of income. You know, it'll help. So if you decide to jump out and go after it, then you know what you need to do. And all of that works backwards into that yearly goal becomes a monthly goal, which becomes a weekly goal, which becomes a daily goal. So then you know what your daily activities need to look like in order to reach that goal. So if you know I need to talk to 10 customers a day in order to bring in, you know, $1,000 a month, so that I have, you know, or $10,000 a month, so that I have my annual income goal, then, you know, that's what you need to do. So you can break it all down and say, well, if I have a you know, client that pays me $1,000 and I need 10,000 a month, and I need 10 of those clients a month. And if I know I need to talk to 100 people to get that, then that's, you know, 100 people divided by 4 weeks, you know, is 25 people a week, which is 5 people a day, right? So that's to hit your goal. And then what I teach people how to do, build businesses that provide cash flow to invest in other assets. What I say is if you need 5, talk to 50, right? Or talk to 20. Don't stick with what you need to get by. Double it, triple it, quadruple it, you know, 10x it if you can, and hit it. If you're going to be an entrepreneur, if you want to be successful and you want to achieve your goal and you want to make this work in the long term, you got to get after it. You got to make it happen, and you got to do twice as much minimal. The minimal is twice as much as you think you need to do to get the results. And if you do that and you take that action every single day and you break those goals down into a daily habit, you know, every single day what you need to do, the rest will take care of itself, assuming you know what you do and you have skills like you do.
Yeah.
So that's my answer, and I'm sticking to it.
Exactly. Definitely. It's a good point that you mentioned. I just want to come back to one part. You mentioned, you know, people that sell cars, and you mentioned, you know, like they depend on the traffic, you know, outside, you know, the parking lots, which is like in this day and age, the traffic is everywhere. You know, the traffic is online. And, you know, you guys are watching this YouTube video online, and this is one of the traffic roads that people go to. So definitely, like when it comes back, because today's like topic, I don't know, we kind of were talking about a lot of stuff, but again, the social media thing is becoming real. Like, and you know, the people that you're talking with, the people who are writing books and stuff, you know, like for them, so, you know, it's either two ways. It's either you're going to change with the time, so you're just going to get left behind.
So let's talk about the car dealer and, you know, in a restaurant. Let's take some offline businesses, okay? Because we all know as a, you know, if you're raising money, okay, then you're a thought leader, right? You need to position yourself as an expert, you know, somebody who's credible and somebody who, you know, who is a thought leader in the space. So if you're raising money, we know you got to do that. If you're writing a book, we know you need to build an audience and you've got to generate that. If you're a coach, a mentor, you know, an influencer, you know, everybody said, well, that's a given, right? You know, you need that platform. You got to do it. You got to be out there. Think Tony Robbins, Brendan Burchard, Grant Cardone, Gary Vee, right? That's an influencer, marketer, thought leader. You got to have that platform, and most everybody in that space. But then the car dealer, you know, might say, well, what's that going to do for me? So let's address that. So car dealers are usually on very busy thoroughfares where they've got thousands of cars passing them every day. When do most people buy a car? When they really need it,
exactly,
or when they really want it?
Well, when they want it. I mean, so
most of the time, generally somebody might buy a car when they need it, but most people buy a new car every so often, you know, just because they're ready for a new car and they just like to get new cars, right? So, you know, as a car dealer, you know, you got two choices. You can wait for that individual to get motivated on their own based on just general advertising and just popping in, or you can stay in front of that individual with a consistent message of whatever's going on, the hot new vehicle, the hot new feature, these things that are coming out, the new deals you're doing, and put it out there on social media. So back to my guy that didn't understand what social media was, my client, social media is the new TV, right? So back in the day, all we had was newspaper and TV advertising. That's what social media is now. That's what everybody's watching. And I'm not talking about blasting them with ads. I mean, you can do paid ads and you can do stuff like that. But what you're doing and what we do, it's free almost. I mean, obviously, you know, you get paid to do and promote. So, you know, when I create that content, you take it from there and you get paid to do that because I don't have the time. And it saves me hours. I don't know how you do it, but it saves me hours. You knock it out quick. And I'm very good with technology, but man, creating graphics and all that. And speaking of graphics, this little picture back here is my wife's favorite picture. It's the Dalmatians. So Martinez thought it would be good to leave in the background. So it's interesting. And it's going to grab your attention, which is what you want to do with your social media. So
exactly.
So that's what a car dealer can do. Even though people are seeing you every day, they may not be thinking about anything until you put it in front of them and you start creating that desire. So think about how most people buy a car. It starts with a thought. They see something and they're like, man, I can picture myself in that car. That's going to make me feel good. It's going to make me look good. It's going to tell people I'm successful. It's going to be whatever. Or it's like, hey, I need something safe, right? So whatever that is, if you've got the safest car out there and the new, you know, JD Powers or whatever the awards are, you know, you film some nice video, going around, talking to your customers, looking at the cars. You're not pushing, you're not promoting, you're not selling, you're educating. You're telling the public, you're telling the audience what you have, what it's going to do for them, and you're just top of mind. So that even though they're driving by you every day, they may not see you, but I guarantee you they're going to see you when you're flipping through social media if you've got an interesting video and something kind of cool that catches their attention. Same thing with a restaurant, right? You know, you drive by restaurants all the time, and, you know, you can live in a town where there's 100 restaurants, and then when it's time to go out to eat, what do you say? Well, where do you want to go? I don't know. You know, even though there's 100 of them, you know, you don't know where you want to go. But if you're sitting there scrolling through and you see this dish pop up and you see the chef back there, like the Food Network channel, and you got, you know, diners, drive-ins and dives and, you know, all the little restaurant shows where somebody's making this dish and it just looks, you're going to look at it, man, let's go there tonight, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, a spa, the same thing. You know, you create video of your spa and just different techniques and the things that you're doing that help people and make people and transition people. So that's the power of social media and getting that message out that used to cost and still does thousands upon thousands of dollars a month to be on the radio, to be on the TV, to be in print, right? Social media is free for your own content to produce and upload to your platforms. And then it's very cheap to promote that content. Yeah. And again, it's not salesy, it's not pushy, it's educating the audience, it's showing them what you have to offer. You know, the term in the industry that a lot of people use is you know, add value. It's showing the value that you have to offer. What I say is show them your service. All right, look to serve others first. Think about it as service. I want to show you what service we have. I want to show you what our offerings are. And, you know, so that's the power of social media today.
Definitely agree with that 100%. And when it's coming back, you know, because the videos are becoming so powerful right now. And like, if you guys, whatever, like the business owner who are watching right now, I don't know what type of website you guys have, but definitely one piece that are missing on the websites, just a quick insight for you to go and check it out. Like if you go on a website, what you see is basically description, like what we do, like established 1997, like, and some, maybe some photos and stuff. I mean, it's not engaging. Like the videos is becoming such a powerful thing. And that's why the first place that has to be on a website, when you click on it, it should be the video, because click on a video and you should be in front of that camera. If you're a business owner, you should be explaining, hey, my name is Martynas and this is what I do. And this is the way, you know, we do the things, explaining, basically, again, educating the person about the things that you're doing, you know, providing service value for the person and saying, you know, the things that like why he should go and use and try a service. And the
so let's hit on that real quick. So video, let's drive home that point for people. Because 70% of the people get their content through video now. I think it's something like 70, 75%.
Yeah.
Video is huge, right?
Sure.
Number two, and catching up quickly, is podcast. Yeah. You know, podcast is becoming huge, and it's an untapped industry.
The statistics say 75 million people only in US are listening to the podcast every month.
70 million out of 800, I think the U.S. population is, something like that. And then if you go worldwide, you know, it's incredible, right? And that's what's so cool about these platforms is it opens you up, depending on what you're doing, to the entire world, you know, which a lot of people know that, but they're not really understanding necessarily what we're talking about here, the power of video and podcast. Those are the two mediums.
The question, how do you, again, 75 million of people are listening to the podcast. So the question is, how many of the people, you know, producing content on a podcast? The better question is, how do you even, like, if you have a podcast, how do you differentiate yourself from all those different people and make sure more people are coming towards your podcast? Yeah. Because what everybody is doing is kind of a template product. You know, they're like, okay, this is the thing I should follow. Somebody just, you know, whatever, the successful guy that was kind of one of the first, let's say, pioneers in the podcast space. There's some unbelievable people that are producing stuff. But again, some of those people are looking at these people and they're like, man, I should do exactly what they are doing. Listen, these people already have the following. So if you're going to follow the person that already has the, whatever, the, you know, he's already a thought leader, expert in his space with the podcast. If you're going to duplicate him, it might not work for you because he already has the following. For you to have that, you need to build the following. So if you're going to do the same thing that those people do, even though it looks good, I mean, you might not able to differentiate, you know, yourself, you know, from the rest of the people because they're all doing the same thing. You know, the same message that, you know, whatever, 1 hour long podcast, the video, you know, the description is like everybody the same description. You know, it's not engaging. It's not education. 1 minute until I hear some voice, you know, there's some song singing. Welcome to the podcast show today. Like, I don't want that. I want to go straight to the content and just start learning, start consuming. That's what the end user wants. But
yeah, people's attention spans are getting shorter and shorter by the day, by the minute. So there's two things that are really annoying in podcasts and videos. Ads are number one. Everybody wants to monetize their podcast. And like you said, the intro, the outro, you know, all that kind of stuff. And, you know, yeah, you can fast forward through it and all that, but it's still kind of annoying. So why even force somebody to do that? Just give them what they want, give them the content. And that's a great point because a lot of people get hung up on, you know, and even me, you know, before I started podcasting, I was researching it, looking at it, going, man, should I produce it? Should I have music? Should I do this? Should I do that? And then I was like, you know what? That's silly. I'm just going to record what I do, put it out there. This is what I've got to say today. If you like it, great. If you don't, I'm sorry, but it's, you know, but it's good quality stuff, you know, and it's stuff, and I'm getting a lot of great feedback. You know, people love the fact that it's short, it's to the point. I'm not fluffing, promoting, selling. I'm just talking about, how do you scale your business? How do you raise unlimited amounts of capital? How do you start a business from nothing? What kind of mindset does it take to do $250 million in real estate deals when you have zero college education, you had no money, you had nobody teaching you? How does that work? All that kind of stuff. So it's leadership mindset. It's, all kinds of different things that I do. And it's simple. Literally I do everything I do on my phone, and I just pull it out, I record it, I upload it, and Martinez takes it from there and just blows it up and makes it look great. And people are loving it. So, exactly. It's a different world. It's easier than what people think. And what I always tell everybody, and I film videos on it, you got to just do it. You just got to start where you are, start with something. I don't care if you don't have any followers. Eventually you will. And it's not really about the followers either necessarily. Yeah. It's about consistently putting out content on a consistent basis. Start once a week, then turn it into twice a week, then turn it 3, then scale up to where you're doing something every day. Yeah. And it gets simple, it gets easy, and whatever you like to do, you can shoot the video and just, it can be a Facebook Live, and then, I guess you can grab it from there. You can upload it to YouTube like I do, or you can just put it in Dropbox and send it to Martinez, and he can do, everything with it that you need to do, which is what's so cool about it. You don't even have to think. All you got to do is focus on producing, that nice piece of content, then go do whatever else you need to do, and then it all gets taken care of for you. So it's really cool what you do. I'm glad I found you. I know that a lot of my clients are using you now, and it's just really awesome. So somebody hears this and they're like, man, I need that. I got it. So how do they get a hold of you? How do they reach out to you? People know my stuff and all that, but how do they get a hold of you to, start that conversation and, kind of take a look at what you're doing?
Sure. I'm just, people just Google my name, like Martinez Fedotovas. Again, guys, like this is on YouTube. So, or if you're listening this on podcast, you just check the description, because whatever you're producing, you have to make sure all the information has to be there available for people. Again, this is the message for the business owners to make sure.
And you'll have all your links in there for everybody to click on. Yeah. Okay.
Exactly. So if you don't have that in the description, that means you're already doing this wrong. So, just check it out, the description. You're going to find all the links, and you can reach me out, and, the platforms, the service is going to be links included there. So you can check it out, and definitely let me know if you have any questions related to that, and to expanding your business on multiple platforms, and I'm always there to help. So
huge. Well, Martinez, I appreciate you being here today. You've been a tremendous help, tremendous difference in my life. You saved me I guarantee you saved me, if I were doing this, 20 hours a week at least. Yeah. And I just do one video a day, and it's just unbelievable.
Yeah, there is definitely some work involved, and that's why, this is a hands-off experience for people. And that's why, again, so many business owners are seeing what it is and what it does, and seeing the benefits of it. So yeah, definitely.
Awesome. Well, good. Well, have a great rest of the weekend, and thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me, Greg. Appreciate it. Thanks.